Chaplain for the Panama City Police Department.
Let us pray. I invite you to bow your head with me. Our prayer today comes from Proverbs. In Proverbs it says, "Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and all people." And Lord, we ask for this favor. As you say, you give us the secret right here to having good favor and good name in the sight of God and all people, to let love and faithfulness never leave us. So, Lord, we pray that we can cling on to your love and your faithfulness today. Let us show those things so that we may be at peace and resolve conflict. And Lord, continue to be good stewards of the very thing that you have called us to in this city of Lynn Haven, to be good stewards for the citizens of Lynn Haven and the people of Lynn Haven. Father, we ask all these things in your name, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Crisco. Just want to remind us, though we're in an intimate setting here at the Garden Club, just to maintain our decorum, being recognized by the chair before coming up to speak, and just making sure we're not speaking from the audience as we're discussing things here on the dais. This time we have our public commentary.
Jody Moore on Amherst Street. Just a couple of things. First, I never got an answer last time about the youth council and whether there were background checks required. So if you're in your report, if you could perhaps say that. I think if background checks are required for the charter committee or other committees, that would be kind of important if somebody's working with children to have that. I'd also like to bring up something that was brought up last time, and I know Mr. Obos spoke to this, but I listened to what he said, and maybe he can explain it to me again. We have two pieces of property on Arkansas. At least, I think there's more, but I've got these two, okay? It says Michael Gordon at the bottom. I know that we've talked about this. Mr. Obus said that this was a signature, and it's not a signature, it's a stamp. They look exactly the same. These are two separate houses, okay? And I know you guys got this in your packet so you can look at it. I don't see the originals, these are just photocopies, but it looks exactly the same to me, so that would mean it's his stamp, all right? What I've been told is that the person who wants to build, they go and they have to file with the building department. Now, the date on this is 8/9/2021, and that is more than 3 months past the time that that Mr. Gordon was arrested. And I was told that when you get this is when you get this, okay? So these would be August. These would be stamped at the same time that this was received, August 9th of 2021. And that is after Mr. Gordon was no longer there and his stamps were supposed to be locked up. Now, there's two explanations for this, okay? There could have been, these might have been pre-printed, pre-stamped, and maybe they were used in error somehow, but that's the person's problem who filled this out, because this is filled out, this is handwritten right here. They should have looked down to see that the signature, that the stamp was there, or that these were stamped and done. I don't know why that would have been done, but the fact of the matter is, unless there's another explanation that can be given, these homes have not been properly inspected, and I'm pretty sure that this would be illegal. Maybe it can be fixed, maybe they can be inspected again, but perhaps there's another explanation. I don't know, it seems pretty clear-cut to me. Please tell me if I'm wrong. All right, thank you. I just wanted to bring that again to your attention. And just to say, too, this has actually been turned in, not by me, but this has been turned into legal authorities.
Thank you. Additional public commentary? All right. Mr. Walker, here and there. And then there. All right. We'll let the ladies go first. So after Mr. Walker, we'll have our lady.
Good afternoon, Rich Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. My subject matter is opinions. In 2017, one of our mayors and a commissioner were accused of a charge, and charges were sent to the state of Florida. The city attorney was used as, not in his official capacity, but he represented both of those people. They were convicted. The conviction came back, and the city attorney representing him, the accused, attacked the person that laid the charges down. They have to be laid down in state law by somebody. Ethics Committee cannot do it. They were convicted. That one commissioner that was convicted is presently awaiting to be sentenced to 30 years of life in jail for continuing with the same corruption that he had back then in 2017. Last year, or the beginning of this year, the Supreme Court came out with a decision, Roe versus Wade, okay? This was an opinion. Opinions are as good as the person that gives them, and as good as who follows them. The Supreme Court decision overthrew the Roe versus Wade, and that went out to the United States. 50% of the states decided to ignore the opinions. Ladies and gentlemen, consider this. When you get an opinion, consider the source, consider the results, and consider who's given it to you and in what vein. Opinions are as good as the person. They are not state law. They are not constitutional law. They are opinions. And again, the United States, 50% of the states decided to ignore what the Supreme Court said as an opinion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mercedes Franklin, and I'm here from Southport. I don't know if you've heard of the silos, the cement dry.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, in Southport, behind the Marina Bay condos. So we've been handing out flyers because we are asking the county commissioners to put it away, take it out of the residential area and put it in an industrial site. In the process of doing that, we've been handing out flyers here in Lynn Haven, and nobody seems to know about it. And they thanked us for the information. They don't want the silos over there. There are 3 of them, 167 feet tall, which is twice the height of the Marina Bay condos. So there's gonna be some dust, and it will be caustic because of the materials. It will be in the air. It goes up to 5 miles. It will also cover the water in Deer Point Lake and the water surrounding here. So anyway, I just wanted to know if there were any questions about the silos. I've got some sheets we've been handing out these sheets to ask the county commissioners to move the silos to a industrial park. But my main concern was there had been some realty sales where people did not know about it. There was one over here, I think it was 2.5 million, and it's in escrow. And when the realtor heard about that, she had to tell the buyers, and so there's been some complications from the lack of knowledge in the realty market because the people don't want to look at the silos or the cement plant. So anyway, I'm just informing you people here, and if you have any questions about it, or if you'd like me to give you some flyers about it, and then you can pass the word so that people can say yay or nay to the county commissioners.
Yes.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like any flyers?
Yeah, if you could leave those flyers there.
Take a couple of them.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, additional public commentary.
Hey, good afternoon. Corey Langford, 1112 Louisiana. I apologize in advance. I missed the meeting prior to this, or this probably would have answered my question, so I apologize to those who were here before that. But I guess maybe Ms. Gaynor would be the appropriate one to ask the question too. I kind of want to understand the difference between, if you could, during your commentary, the difference between wastewater, stormwater, and sewer. if we could get like a really dumbed down version so I can understand wastewater, stormwater, and sewer. If we could just kind of break those out and
He can
explain that, I
answer that for
appreciate
you
it.
right now. Wait. Yeah.
Mr. Scray.
Ryan Scray, Missouri Avenue. I listened to the pre-commission meeting on Friday, and there was something of concern that was brought up by Ms. Richards. She talked about how if she had been at the planning commission meeting, she would have made sure that they would have voted on the setback issue, the ULDC issue that's coming up. And I looked through everything that I could find on the city website, past agendas, everything, and tried to find out where it says that the planning commission has to either recommend or not recommend. And I can't find that anywhere. So if it exists, if somebody could show me that. But my understanding is that following Robert's Rules of Order, that commission could, on such an issue as this one, which is slightly, controversial, they could have, for example, made a motion to pass along their commentary to this commission without a vote, without a recommendation of a yes or a no. And then also it was mentioned that they need to explain, if they do not recommend it, why. This commission doesn't even have to explain why they vote no on stuff. So I just want to kind of lay that out there. Like, I don't think we should be expecting that from any of our subcommissions or subcommittees. I think we need to have the trust in these commissions. I mean, the various commissioners have appointed these people for whatever reasons, whether it's professional experience or otherwise, and trust them to make recommendations or make non-recommendations or not make either and just pass along their commentary for our commission to decide. So I just want that clarified on what the planning commission has to do. If they have to recommend, not recommend, or if they're okay with passing along commentary without a recommendation or non-recommendation. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Christy McElroy, Port St. Joe and Tallahassee. Jody pretty much said what I was going to say. These are permit placards. You do not get them during commencement, application, etc. On the following page, it shows that this placard by the Bay County Property Appraiser's Office, that placard was issued on August 9th, 2021. That's the end of the story. Mr. Gordon's stamp, not his signature, which was noted in the opinion letter, that was not his signature. It was his stamp. And the only people that had his stamp were the city of Lynn Haven, the city of Lynn Haven. And I would like to know, did Mr. Jim White come and pick up Mr. Gordon's stamps? I've got copies of this for everyone, and she is correct. I've got two different placards with Mike Gordon's, not his signature, but his stamp, 3 months after he notified the city to no longer use his name in any way as the building official. This is very serious, and indeed, it has been passed on to the state attorney's office.
Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public commentary? Thank you all for your commentary. This time we have our mayor's report. Have the proclamation for the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Awareness Month. Whereas prenatal alcohol exposure is the leading preventable cause of birth defects and intellectual and developmental disabilities, and whereas fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, FASD, is the umbrella term that describes the range of effects that can occur to an individual whose mother drank alcohol while pregnant. These effects can cause lifelong impairments, preventing individuals from living independently, and whereas of the almost 210,000 babies born annually in Florida, approximately 10,500 are estimated to have FASD. And whereas the exact number of people with FASD is unknown, but it is estimated that 1 in 20 school children in the U.S. may have been prenatally exposed to alcohol, more than twice the rate of autism. And whereas FASDs are a core cause of numerous mental health and social disorders, including juvenile delinquency, school dropouts, homelessness, learning disabilities, unemployment, and crime. And whereas refraining from all types of alcohol in any amount is recognized by medical professionals as a fundamental element in protecting infants against FASD symptoms, and whereas it benefits all the residents of the city of Lynn Haven and all Floridians to promote awareness of the effects of prenatal alcohol exposure, increase compassion for those individuals so affected, minimize further effects, and ensure a healthier community in the future. And whereas we should increase awareness of how FASDs may present in individuals across their lifespan and the ongoing need for services and support. Now, therefore, I, Jesse Nelson, by the virtue and authority invested in me as mayor of the city of Lynn Haven, on behalf of the city commission, do urge residents to practice safe measures reducing the risk of potential lifelong consequences of consuming alcohol during pregnancy. And further, I do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Awareness Month. A witness whereof I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Lynn Haven to be affixed this 23rd day of August 2022. All right, for the mayor's report, we'll be brief on this evening. First, would like to say that we had a good youth council meeting following our city commission meeting. It was an extended version of our city commission meeting, so our youth council didn't meet as long as we had initially anticipated. However, Mr. Joe Brown was able to provide an overview of the CRA. We also enjoyed a hearty lunch over there at Po Folks, since it was right across the street. And also they were able to elect officers, president, vice president, and secretary for this school year. We did discuss questions they had regarding the agenda, such as stormwater and other agenda items. As of right now, we don't have a protocol for background checks being required for the youth council speakers. So just like when speakers go to schools, don't get the background checks usually. So we just kept that same protocol here for our youth council as well. Also, probably like many of you, other commissioners had several citizens calls, had a diversity of calls, so I probably engaged with the city manager and various departments over the past 2 weeks on an array of issues, but thank everyone that was helpful and able to solve the citizens' problems in a timely manner. So very thankful to all of you. We know some of our departments have been really busy. Public utilities, they've been very busy these past couple of weeks. So really want to thank those guys for literally getting out in the late night hours, early morning hours to handle those issues. And so just really grateful for that, and just thank all of our staff for what you all are doing to keep our city a great place to live. Also went to the Mosley preseason game Friday night against Rutherford. It was a shutout until like 4 seconds, and Rutherford scored a touchdown. And it was the funniest thing. I think the guy said, we're not like, what's that, bandwagons or something like that anymore, wheels or something. So they didn't have any more 0 points on the board, so they scored right at the end. But it was a great preseason game for Mosley, so really excited about what they're going to be doing this year in football, representing our city. They're going down this Friday to represent us in Orlando, and so they're really excited about that as well. Also, Mr. Leon Miller's services were this past Saturday at 3 p.m., and so want to thank the commissioners, the city manager, staff, the citizens, all those who attended. It was a great showing of support to Mr. Leon Miller's family, which are still citizens of our community. And so great showing of support. And I also want to thank the officials that were able to write letters of condolence and encouragement. And so, again, thank you all for the outpouring of love and support for Mr. Leon Miller's family, who was a gentleman that really loved Lynn Haven. I'm not saying that anybody else doesn't. I know a lot of you are here because you're passionate about Lynn Haven, and so certainly we can see over his lifetime and his living here in the city that he was really passionate about making sure that it was a great place for everyone to live. So he's going to be someone that's sorely missed for his wisdom and for his work, but hopefully the legacy he leaves behind will live on through us and others to continue to promote the servanthood that he exhibited here in our community. I think Mr. Gregg, did you answer his question regarding the wastewater, anything like that?
I gave him my card. We'll talk offline.
Okay, all right.
Pretty lengthy conversation.
Got it. Also, in regards to Mr. Scray and city manager, someone else may be able to provide a little more clarity on this. I think part of what we anticipate, and not that it's required, part of what we anticipate from the committees or subcommittees is some type of recommendation, because that's sort of the work of the committee is to, vet things and then give a recommendation, yay or nay, to the commission. Not that it's a requirement, but somewhat of an expectation. If you probably do note from the dialogue from the pre-commission meeting, I tried to go back and sort of extract what would have been a recommendation or sort of their comments, just looking at what they were saying and not saying. And so there was no, they didn't vote no on it because there was no second to it, so the nomination actually died. So there was a motion to approve it, which died. So then there isn't a motion to say, okay, let's, not vote for it. It just died, so it wasn't approved. So we were able to just sort of go back and sort of extract what they said to sort of see what the recommendation was or sort of what the issues were as to why they didn't approve it. So again, you make a good point, but not that a recommendation is required to just sort of expect. It's sort of like the Charter Review Committee. They went out, they worked, they came back, and then sometimes coming back it may be there's no recommendation, right? Even with the Financial Review Committee or the Debt Review Committee, they went out and said, hey, here's our findings, and these are what we recommend or what we don't recommend. So just trying to get some feedback from the committee, because it also gives us an awareness of what the citizens are also thinking. So it just won't be us just trying to think of it on our own, as Mr. Walker alluded to earlier in regards to opinions. So we think and value the opinions of our committees, and so that's why we sort of say, hey, what's their recommendation, to show that we value the opinion of what they have regarding that particular issue. That is my report for this evening. Commissioner Aldridge.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually have a request. I have a prepared statement that I'd like to give, and I wanted to see if you would allow me to move behind Commissioner Tender. Just the main reason is I don't want to take up everybody's time, in the order that we're in, whereas if I'm at the tail end, it doesn't, I'm not impeding on Pat trying to say what he wants to say or anybody else. But again, that's up to you. If you'd rather me go ahead and go, I'll go ahead and go.
No, we'll save you to the end.
Okay.
Commissioner Perno.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Miller told me one time it's okay to say you don't have anything to say, so no report.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Perno, and thank you for what you do in our community. Commissioner Ward.
Can we put that in the city books as some type of record?
The shortest report
That's
ever.
exactly how he said it to me, too.
Just a couple quick things. I had time with the commissioner this past Saturday. I had 4 people show up, and we got on some good conversations about the stormwater assessment fee and the charter and things like that, and I thought it was pretty productive. I also received some feedback on the ULDC setbacks for the non-residential. I know we're not voting on it tonight, but we'll be discussing it. And I did go to Mr. Leon Miller's funeral. It was a very nice funeral. The church was very nice, from my understanding. I think they were only back in operation for a couple weeks, yeah. And you can tell there's a lot of new stuff in there, and they were very welcoming, and it was a nice ceremony. I wish I got to know Mr. Miller better. I never really got to know him that well, but I know he's been a big impact on the community, and I know a lot of people are going to miss him. So other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Warwick. Also, in regards to charter review, we mentioned this in pre-commission meeting, working with the city manager to look at our calendars so that we can have a couple of workshops, maybe a couple of hour workshops regarding the charter review. We'll schedule those workshops after we get through our budget season. And so that's what we're looking for right now. I don't want to overwhelm with charter review and with budget at the same time. So once we get through our budget season and pass our budget, then we'll start focusing on charter review with the hope that we can vote on it the last meeting in October is sort of the schedule we're shooting for as it relates to our discussions on that. So those workshop dates will be announced at our next commission meeting in September. And then you can put those on your calendar and we'll work from there. Commissioner Tender.
Thank you. I've been working on probably 5 or 6 different projects recently, but I have no report. Thank you.
Wow.
Commissioner Aldridge. I guess they gave all their time to you.
I guess so. I do have a report. So I also would like to speak about Mr. Miller for just a moment. He was a great man. He had one of the greatest, biggest hearts that I've seen in any individual in Lynn Haven, and he deserves all of our respect and all of our thankfulness for everything that he endured, that he put up with in his lifetime, and yet he still cared so deeply about the community, and that just speaks volumes to me. So thank you, Mr. Miller, for everything you did. So we'll leave that there. The other thing that I'd like to address, just a couple of things over the last couple of weeks that have kind of concerned me and bothered me pertaining to some of the issues going on here. First, I just want to say that I'm embarrassed at the way our last commission meeting devolved into nothing more than anger and throwing a hissy fit, as my mom likes to say, over a citizen volunteer board. I'm ashamed that the discussion devolved to the point of swearing when we had students from the leadership program in attendance. Those students were there to observe and learn about proper leadership and how government is supposed to correctly function, neither of which were evident in my opinion. I believe those students are owed an apology, and I do apologize when we got out of order at times. It is okay for board members to disagree on policy items and to fight for issues they're passionate about. However, throwing pop shots out of anger or pure emotion is never appropriate from any commissioner, any board member. This is a board meeting, and we're to be professionals that make policy and have civic fiduciary responsibilities as expected by the majority of the citizens of Lynn Haven. We are not dysfunctional DC here, and we should not look like it in our commission meetings. All of us on the board live in Lynn Haven and are practically neighbors, and we should treat each other as such, neighbors. Not alleviating the dysfunction, at times it appears as though even our own board is pulling against the city and its leadership, looking for illegal activity and conspiracy or collusion around every corner when the city has made strides to put safeguards in place to prevent what has happened in the past. Submitting countless Freedom of Information requests every month for the last 3.5 years that I've been a commissioner is counterproductive and keeps staff from performing their jobs for the citizens. Constantly keeping the city manager bogged down with requests due to personal animosity and immediately forwarding emails from the city manager to others not on the board is subversive and unbecoming. Out of the years of Freedom of Information requests, absolutely no maleficence has been found, yet the Scooby-Doo, as I said 2 years ago, antics continue. As I stated years ago when I also had a prepared statement, enough already. Finally, I'd like to address my alleged negativity. When I came into office 3.5 years ago, my main objective was to assist in the rebuild process of the city of Lynn Haven. I dreamed of the day that Lynn Haven would show no signs of the destruction in the aftermath of the hurricane, but be even better and more beautiful than before the storm, which is what we're seeing come to fruition before our eyes. During my first year, I was there when a city manager, a city attorney, and a mayor had been or was arrested. The debris piles were still tall, and the city bills were stacking even taller. The flow of FEMA funding and assistance seemed to come to a standstill due to the alleged illegal activities. The morale was very low as Lynn Haven employees and citizens alike were rebuilding their own lives while also trying to rebuild a city. My mindset and goal through that ordeal was to stay as positive as possible. I got asked many times back then, so how does it feel being a first-time commissioner during this trying time? My response was almost always the same when I got that question. I feel mostly like a cheerleader trying to encourage everyone to keep their head up and keep pushing forward. The city manager and many employees that I encountered during those last couple of years would agree with that and can attest to that. Despite the destruction of the hurricane, the arrest, the FEMA hangups, the pandemic with subsequent shutdowns, and now unprecedented inflation that's about to lead all of us into a good, deep recession, the city of Lynn Haven is progressing very well. Our debt is under control, and our finances are healthy at this time. There's been no excessive raising of taxes, nor water and sewer rates, despite the hardship of the last 4 years. Our city buildings are being rebuilt as we sit here this very moment. We're sitting in one of our buildings that was rebuilt under budget due to the help of city staff. Our parks are among the best in the entire county, and our soon-to-be rebuilt sports complex will host athletes and their families with the loud cheering and joyfulness returning once more to our parks. The commercial corridor is looking great, and soon the entire city aesthetic ordinances will be updated to make our city even more beautiful for the citizens and for those that are to move here in the future when the Air Force Base gets completed. To conclude my statement, I'm asking this board, can we please conduct the business of the city together as a group of logical, mature civil servants? We don't always have to agree. We don't always have to get along. That's not human nature, and I understand that. But we can always stay professional and civic to each other with mutual respect as individuals, each of us elected by the citizens of Lynn Haven. We're all equal. Let's put logic and compromise over anger and emotion. I'm not saying we all have to be best friends, but we should at least be able to work together for the benefit of the citizens. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager's report.
I'm going to give you the short answer. Greg will give you the long answer. Stormwater is the runoff from the rain, okay? That comes through. We have lots of problems with that. It causes the flooding that goes on. And then the sewer, wastewater, of course, it comes from wastewater, things you flush your toilet, you utilize other water that's not needed. And then that sewer is what sometimes will bubble up when we have those long rains that is untreated. That's the water that's untreated, okay? So he'll give you the long answer, but I gave you a short answer. Kiki.
Good evening. You have questions about the warrant? Thank you.
Okay. A couple other things. So we have implemented and we are working on, I know that many citizens see a lot of things within our city sometimes that they want to report, don't know who to report it to. So one of the things we're implementing is called My Civic, and that will be an app that when citizens are out, find things, potholes, whatever it may be, they will be able to take pictures of it, send it in to Public Works, and hopefully we can take care of a lot of those things for you. So that's moving in the right direction. The firefighters and the police department have put together their 9/11 over the bridge, and we ask that you all participate in it. It's going to be a great event, and thank you guys for putting that together. Spring ball kickoff is September 17th. We have now 330 kids. That's a lot, and we're coming back strong. Fall ball starts October 1. Right now, for basketball, we have about 70 kids. And our sports and recreation is going really well. People are coming back, wanting to be a part of it, and I'm very, very excited about what we have. And then we have several ways to pay your utility bill, and wanted to just remind you of that. You can do it online. Of course, you can do it in person. But we're also, when the new building is built out at Sports Complex, we recognize that some people don't want to drive all the way across town. Some people just like to get out and see Stephanie's face or some of the other ones. Well, you'll be able to hopefully be able to pay your utility bill maybe over at the Sports Complex, because we will have a kiosk there that you will have as well. And so those are a couple of things that are going on. Table Talk will be this Thursday at 5:30, and I invite you all to come out. Let me just say, I do everything that this commission asks me to do, probably more. And I constantly am pounded on by 1 or 2 or 3 people trying to find something that is not true. When it comes to the city of Lynn Haven and the business of city of Lynn Haven, anyone will tell you that I do the job that you've asked me to do, and I'm not doing anything more or less. You can accuse me of anything you want to accuse me of, but I say to you, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every word that is said against me will be cast down. So I'm telling you that the Mike Gordon thing, that is a no point. No one in this city used Mike Gordon's stamp. Yes, he said signature stamp without his permission. If you really want to know the truth, come and look at the plans where Mike stamped his stamp, did his initial, and then stamped for a placard. The rest of those dates are where Emery Pitts came in and did inspections. There's a difference between plan review and inspections. Plan reviews, he looks at the plans, the building official says, it is ready for you to build. Here you go out and build. No building official will sign off on plans that they have not reviewed. So Emery Pitts would not sign off on the plans that he has not reviewed, but he will sign off on the inspections, the drywall, the electrical, all of those things he does in person. So I'm saying to you, come look at the facts and stop making up stuff. Stop doing things that are trying to cause the city to move backwards instead of forward. It is time, guys, we move on. It is time that we stop all the foolishness. The hatred that I receive from some of these citizens is beyond what you would ever even imagine. So I'm asking you that you let Lynn Haven move forward. And if you don't want Lynn Haven to move forward, I'm sorry, but we're moving forward in the name of the Lord. That's my report.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Yeah, just to answer one of the questions, those Mike Gordon stamps have been returned to Jim White, his criminal defense attorney. That was done last week at his request. And I think Vicki said the rest of it. I think, you know, the August date, that's when all the fees were finally paid. You know, that placard is stamped with a stamped signature when the plans were reviewed, when the notice of commencement was filed, when the permit application was put on file, and that was all done, and it sits in a file until all the fees are paid, and that's probably where that August date came from, which shows up on the property appraiser website. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Anything else? Any questions for City Attorney?
I do. How many, we had a request of how many, and how many of those requests that we
Oh,
had?
right, yeah, we did. His attorney asked for the 3 months of placards issued surrounding the time he was terminated, and we looked at, I think, 137 placards in that 3-month period, and only the first 2 had Mike Gordon's stamped signature on it. All the rest were Emery Pitts or future building officials. So I mean, that kind of is in line with what the practice had been in the city, that when he did the plans review, he would stamp that placard, put it in the file with the application, and then they wait on the fees to get paid.
All right. Any additional questions? Okay. Thank you. This time we have our consent agenda, minutes from 8/9/22. And then we also have discussion and possible approval of agreement with Country Club Harbor Community Association Agreement, which delineates the duties of the City and Country Club Harbor Community Association relating to easements. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Warwick, second by Commissioner Aldridge. City Manager, if you'll call the vote.
Commissioner Aldridge, Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. This time we'll move on to old business. We are not voting on agenda item number 10 today. We will discuss it. If there is any additional discussion we would like to have about it. I know we did have a good, extensive discussion on this on Friday. Everyone had some good perspectives. I think we all walked away with some good input for planning and CRA as to how we would like to look at this and sort of, what to bring back to us. And so, is there any further discussion on this for today?
No, I think I'll wait till the pre-commission meeting so we can have some good conversation on it.
Okay.
That's all right.
And, yeah, the only thing I would say is, again, I want to reassure everybody that this ordinance, it's all about just beautification of the city. That's the heart of it. It's not about restricting people. It's not about trying to make your life hard or make it to where you can't develop your lot. It's none of those things. And we're going to make sure as a board that there are exceptions, that there are things that's going to be in place so that people aren't handcuffed with a piece of property that they feel like they can't, do what the ordinance is requiring them to do and still develop or sell the property. So I just want everybody to remember the heart of this while we're doing this. Again, it's for the benefit of all the citizens, so that we can not have that hodgepodge that we've always had in the past, but we can have a little bit more of a aesthetically pleasing environment over the entire city limits and not just the CRA. But, I just wanted to put that out there so that no one misconstrues our intent, Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And certainly not that I am pushing off our responsibilities as a commission. If you do have questions about this, please contact us as you have contacted us previously. But if you need more detailed explanation than what we're able to provide, please contact Ms. Amanda Richardson and her staff with the planning and development, and she's able to get into more detailed analysis of what this ordinance is being proposed to do. Again, please reach out to us for any questions that you have, but for more details, you can also follow with her and arrange a meeting so she can go over it with you in more details as well. Did you have something, Commissioner Perno?
I just wanted to make it what we talked about it in the pre-commission meeting, but out here in the sunshine, I'd just like to state that, as a recap to the pre-commission meeting, we went back and forth a little bit about the 40-foot setback. We are looking for a possible solution on that, and we also talked about signage, how we shouldn't mandate just one type of sign that may be obstructive to traffic because of its height. And I know that was some issues with some folks that are here today. So we have to listen to the people who develop the land and own the land as well, and just want to let them know we're doing that. So I don't think what we're going to end up with is the exact CRA overlay going forward. We're going to give it flexibility. So I just wanted to say that. And so, but we still have a discussion today and then second reading at our next meeting. Is that correct?
Correct. And then there'll be a pre-commission meeting before that to have further discussion, more clarity, questions, et cetera, from Ms. Richards and Ben Janke as well. Any further discussion on this matter?
No, sir.
What?
Public commentary?
I have a question. Just
Yeah, if you'll come to the mic. And we ask that because we're also live so that our viewers at home and online can hear you and see you.
Jim Holzenbach, 2108 Highway 77. It's just about the pre-meeting. You're saying that there will be another pre-meeting.
Yes.
How will we know about that? Because I know sometimes just based on agenda, whether you do have that or you don't have that. And I'm just wanting to know how I can be sure to know that it's happening.
So we will have this pre-meeting, yes.
You will have it?
Yeah.
And that will be when, one more time, I'm sorry?
That will be the Friday preceding the meeting on that second Tuesday in September.
Okay, and that'll be where?
That'll be September 2nd.
At City Hall.
I'm sorry, where?
Oh, yes, at the City Hall.
Okay.
So our temporary City Hall right there by the police station.
Yes, sir.
Right across from the senior center. So we'll be there. It's open to the public to come.
Yes, sir.
We don't open it to the public for discussion, but you're certainly welcome to listen in. And then afterwards, we are all available to speak to about those particular issues. So
Okay.
September 9th.
Just a minute. Thank you.
8 a.m.
Okay.
Additional public commentary on this? Okay. Agenda item number 11, new business. Mr. Gregg for the presentation of the findings of the Lynn Haven Sanitary Sewer Smoke Testing Report.
Mid-year budget adjustments, Commission approved the utility department to conduct smoke testing. This is Mosley Drive, and if you can see down here in the bottom right alongside the road, you'll see a manhole in that ditch that's smoking. Let's see, what's the pointer? Right here. That is a manhole rim and cover that's been knocked off its base right in the ditch line. So instead of conveying the stormwater up and down the ditch, it flows into the sewer system. That is one of the contributing factors to sanitary sewer overflows. Those pipes can only hold so much wastewater. And you do that enough of the times, you're going to overcome the collection system at the wastewater plant. This is a brief example of the data that's gathered. All those little dots are sewer stormwater collection points. Some of them are pretty big, like that manhole. Others are small, like a clean-out cap in your sewer cleanout. We identified 57 instances. Some were big, some were small. We're working on correcting those with the homeowners and also with our team to get those large manholes fixed. This is a brief report of what all that stormwater does to the wastewater plant. This column right here, that's your flow going out to the bay. Our wastewater plant is designed to treat 2.5 million gallons. You can see several days where we exceeded that treatment capacity. There's one in there that says just a little over 3 million. It's another slideshow of the crew setting up to blow that smoke into the sewer system. This is a little more detailed map, and there's several of these for the collection zones. There again, you have little details. You see the pop-out windows there identifying the major, minor contributors. There again, more detail. This one right here, there was actually no sewer nor stormwater being introduced in the system. That system is tight. All the different zones. This is a map of all the collection basins in the city. Just to give you an idea of the scope, those smaller zone maps are portioned into those collection basins. So this is just a quick graphic on the cycle. As we do smoke testing, we correct the situations, and then it cycles back around to more smoke testing. This is a budget item this year in our upcoming budget. Any questions?
Great job.
Thank you. Agenda item number 12, discussion and possible approval of resolution 2022-08386 to increase the wastewater rates according to resolution 2019-08-294 by 4.5% for fiscal year 2023. City Manager, if you would read that resolution by title only, please.
Yes. A resolution increasing rates and charges for residential and commercial wastewater system and providing an effective date.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any questions from commissioners for the city manager regarding the increase of wastewater rates?
I would say Commissioner Ward brought up a good point in the Friday pre-meeting where he talked about, people that use 10,000 gallons, it's only going to be what'd you say, Commissioner, $3 more, $3.50 more, something?
$33.13.
Yeah. So you know, that shows you kind of how small this increment is. So like we said, I don't think unless you're filling up swimming pools and stuff, you're using 10,000 gallons of water a month. So thank you for that.
All right, awesome. Is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Warwick, second by Commissioner Perno. Discussion from the public. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
No.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Approval of Resolution 2022-08-387, set forth for the sanitation rates for the fiscal year 2023 to remain the same as the previous year. Any discussion on this?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you please read the resolution by title only, please?
A resolution maintaining the rate structure for residential and commercial solid waste and providing an effective date.
Thank you. I got a little excited because we didn't have any rates increases, so I was ready to get that motion passed. All right, is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Warwick, second by Commissioner Perno. Any discussion from the public? City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Approval of Resolution 2022-08-388, set forth for the water rate for fiscal year 2023 to remain the same as the previous year. City Manager, if you read the resolution by title only, please.
A resolution maintaining charges in residential and commercial water system and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Warwick, second by Commissioner Perno. Public discussion. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. At this time, we have the first reading of ordinance number 1138, amending chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances relating to nuisance conditions occurring in pools, hot tubs, or spas. City Manager, if you read this ordinance by title only, please.
An ordinance of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending Chapter 26, Article 2, Section 26 through 32, defining prohibited nuisance conditions to include unintended swimming pools, hot tubs, and spas that accumulate stagnant water and breed mosquitoes, repealing provisions of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for codification, and reciting an effective date.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Right, well, as you said, this is first reading, doesn't require a vote, but this was really to clarify some provisions in our nuisance code at the request of our code enforcement officers. There's some general language in there on nuisances that probably could have captured this, but it just makes it more crystal clear that if you're going to accumulate stagnant water or breed mosquitoes in pools or spas or hot tubs, that they can go out there and enforce that code.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or concerns about this for City Attorney since we talked about it on Friday?
No, sir.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for coming out to join us tonight. Meeting adjourned.